Assalamu alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here. Listen, just listen. These people can't stand the smell of their own shit. Just listen to them. It's sad.
President Harris praising Derek Chauvin's conviction in a televised address to the nation after the verdict was announced. The president calling the conviction a giant step in the march toward justice for a nation still dealing with systemic racism.
In order to deliver real change and reform, we can and we must do more than this. Takes acknowledging and confronting head on systemic racism.
Too late. 40 years too
and the
late.
racial disparities that exist in policing and in our criminal justice
That's the
system.
purpose
more
of
broadly.
police. The purpose
Let's
of
bring in our
police.
panel now. Guy Benson is a Fox News contributor and host of The Guy Benson Show. Richard Fowler is a Fox News contributor. This idea of systemic racism that both President Biden and Vice President Harris pointed to in this case. Richard, is this a case of systemic racism, or was this just one bad cop?
Well, I think it's a case of systemic racism when you think about the fact that it happened, and you read the press release that was released by the Minneapolis Police Department. But today I really want to focus on the fact that we have hope, right? Today we find out that in the United States Congress, there seems to be some bipartisan conversations between Senator Tim Scott, Representative Karen Bass on moving forward the George Floyd policing bill and actually creating real police reform in this country, which is something that we should all look forward to.
Guy, where do you come down on this?
I'm in support of law enforcement and also in support of police reform. And I think you can say there are problematic practices, there are racist people in the country, without saying that we are a systemically racist country.
No, you are.
And I think that attacking the country broadly with that indictment really turns a lot of people off and does not add to a constructive conversation about what can be done on a bipartisan, cross-ideological basis.
Let's listen to what civil rights attorney Leo Terrell said about it earlier today.
Well, here comes the clown.
When the question was asked about systemic racism, where is it? Name me the town and city. They won't answer that question because it does not exist. Systemic discrimination does not exist in this great country. That is a lie.
They produce a fool like you, that's what it does.
Systemic racism does not exist in this country. It's merely a card that Democrats play to shut Republicans up. What do you say?
Listen, Leo Terrell says a lot of things. Let's talk about the facts and the figures, right? We know a couple of things. Let's just take women dying at childbirth. African American women are 5.2 times, if they have a college degree, more likely to die at childbirth than their white counterparts. We saw it in COVID-19, where African Americans disproportionately died to their white counterparts. So it's happening all around us. But Guy is right. It doesn't mean that an individual person is racist. It means we have some institutional problems that we could work together to address if we are willing to.
No, see, that's what Negro, say, demon. It doesn't mean that's exactly what it means. That's how they got this country, because of racism. That's how they got their power, racism. And that first clown, Terrell, he's proof of systemic racism. He's proof of it. Because he's the result of it. See, they destroyed that fool's mind. You don't even know who he is. That's proof of it. Proof of what they did to us, destroyed us. They can't recognize us right in front of us. And now they got this clown, he's halfway. Well, yeah, but all white folks ain't devils.
To acknowledge them and say we could work together to solve them.
I think it's the other way around.
40 years, we're going to work together and solve it. Like it's another 40 years? We got to wait till they be nice? Wait till the devils stop being devils?
Go ahead, Guy.
Right, I think that there are racist people, not a racist country. Right? I don't think we are a racist country.
Well, you might not think it, but you are. That's where you started. How do you think you got this country? How do you think you got this country? You people are sick. Sick.
We have some shameful parts of our history. We have
some shameful parts of your history. Some shameful part of history. Oh, history is shameful. Oh, history is shameful.
Ongoing flaws. Let's try to improve.
Ongoing flaws? The country is shit. It was shit from the beginning and shit to the end. You can't clean up shit.
Them for sure, But I think trying to build an entire nationwide conversation about what to do and how to move forward in a positive way is impacted negatively by public officials and powerful people telling the whole country that we're collectively systemically racist. I think that that is unfair and an overstatement.
Richard, just to
Unfair, overstatement. Yeah, obviously you would think that because you part of the system. You part of the system. Unfair. You're sick people. You've been evil from the very beginning. How do you think you got this? You're racist and you're never going to give it up. You got this Negro clown over here, right? You got his mind all messed up. That's proof of it.
short time ago, Jen Psaki was asked to address the shooting in Ohio, to which she answered, just as America is hopeful of a step forward after the traumatic and exhausting trial of Derek Chauvin and the verdict that was reached, so our focus is working to address systemic racism. Again, attaching the word systemic racism to the shooting in Ohio, tragic shooting of a teenager 16 years old, but she did appear to have a knife in her hand and was trying to stab somebody.
Yeah, so why you have to shoot it several times? Why not a warning shot at least one, just one time? She's a teenager. She's not an elephant. Plus, if America's so great, why do you need to keep? God, we got to work to improve it. We got to work to stop racism. We got to stop. We got to work to make it better. That means you're racist. If you got to clean it up, that means it's dirty. If you got to work to clean it up, that means it's dirty. This is obvious. So you can sit around and bullshit yourself all you want. This whole country shit is shit from the beginning to the end. You can't clean it up. Do you know what systemic racism is? That means it's built into the system. This whole country is built in a system. 3/5 human slavery. That's built into the system. That's how the system was established. That means it's built in. And you didn't stop slavery because of your love for Negroes. You stopped it because you didn't want them competing. You didn't want the North competing with slave labor that the master was sending up there into the North to impede your factories. That's why you stopped it. Because you didn't want to compete with cheap slave labor. Because as soon as it was over, what did you do? Did you say, okay, black folks, we welcome you, you're citizens now, okay, let's work this thing out? No. You set up skills and apprenticeships and unions to keep black folks from having those jobs. That's why you went to war, to make sure they don't have them. You had to compete with them. You're big liars.
Look, I think we have to take this on a case-by-case basis, but where I disagree with Guy is for us to sit here and say that there isn't flaws in our system, right? Various, whether it's our...
It's flawed 100%. That's like saying, well, there's some flaws in the shit. Really? There's some flaws in the shit? Are you serious? You're evil from start to finish. And anyway, you have no right to be shooting any black folks. We didn't ask to come over here. We didn't ask for this system. We didn't ask for any of this. So what right do you have to even be shooting anybody to begin with? And that's why he said the police force anyway, to keep us down. There was no police force before field slavery, before you brought us over here. You didn't have a police force before you brought us over here. The whole purpose of the police force is to keep us down. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Our justice system, our healthcare system, our banking system that disproportionately impact people of color, we're having the wrong conversation because the statistics bear that out. And my point here is that we can work together to solve them if we're willing to acknowledge that we have a problem.
How are you going to work together? Oh, we're going to put some shit on our hands to help clean it. Wait a minute, you need soap to clean the shit off. You can't go put the shit on there to help clean your hands. People are sick.
It doesn't say the whole country is racist, but there are...
No, the whole country is racist from start to finish. How you think they got it from the Indians? There's brothers. The Indians still around. Why don't you get the country back to them? If it wasn't based on racism, why don't you get a country back to the Indians? Why don't you send black folks back home? And if it's based on some ideology that you so great, your ideology, then pack up, go back to Europe. If your whole power is based on your ideology, then you still should have the power when you go back to Europe, wouldn't you? No, it's based on racism and taking everything you can from everybody that you can, reducing them to animals and then taking it from them. That's what it's all about.
Parts of our system that are indeed racist, and if we work together, we can solve the problem.
See, our system. See? He's proof of systemic racism. Because he's going to brainwash that fool. He don't even know who he is.
Maybe there are flaws in many different systems.
Flaws. Ooh. Flawed shit. That's a good one.
Guy, but to use just a broad term like systemic racism, is that not casting a net across the entire country?
Exactly. I'm not saying flawless. I don't think anyone is saying flawless when it comes to the United States of America. And I have to say, John, that quote that you just read from Jen Psaki, how incredibly irresponsible to try to tie what happened in Ohio into the George Floyd situation and make it about race, racism. She also used the term police violence. Based on the video that I saw, there was a young woman attempting to stab another black young woman, and the police intervened. And if we're going to sort of lump that into the same category of...
They didn't intervene. They shot her to death. Why you need to shoot a teen multiple times? Multiple times? The first didn't do the job? Why multiple times? Because you was shooting to kill.
Police violence and bring racism into it. I think that that is fanning the flames and not actually being remotely responsible.
Yeah, we should point out an investigation is being undertaken in Columbus on that shooting, but our Ted Williams, Fox News contributor, believes that that was a justified shooting. So we'll see what the Columbus police come up with. Guy Benson, Richard Fowler, always great to see you. Thanks for taking time today. Appreciate it. See you again soon. Sarah?
And the process was reversed, and they were over. We was controlling the country, and they was our slaves. They wouldn't be talking like that. Why? Let us get out of here. We want to get out of here. We got boys over here. Why y'all go? It'd be a whole different conversation. Entirely different conversation. See, because they brought us over here. We didn't ask for this. We didn't ask to be part of this system. And they beat us and brainwashed for 40 years. And now they got us crazy, we don't know who we are. Then they're going to tell us how we're supposed to feel about what they did to us. They're going to tell us how we're supposed to feel about what they did to us. Imagine that. They don't have no ability, they have no right to imprison us, to judge us, to put us on trial, to shoot us, anything. Because we didn't ask to come over here. We didn't after the system. And that's, you understand what that people understand. See, most black folks don't read anyway. That's unfortunate. So no, systemic racism is. By definition, this country is systemically racist because it was based on, started on racism. Its whole system was based on racism. We established that way. So it's systemically racism. The system was built on racism. That's how I took the country from the Indians, because they was less than human, savages, so it was justified for them to take it away from them. That's why it brought us over here, because we weren't human, so it was justified for them to enslave us and beat us and everything else they did to us. That's racism. They were superior race. That's how it was established. Jefferson, he had slaves, he was raping them. With no love affair with Sally Fields. That's racism. George Washington had slaves, racism. Whole system was based on that 5/5 human or 3/5 human racism. The Civil War was not fought to stop racism. It was fought because of economic reasons, because the North didn't want to compete with slave labor from the South. Period. Lincoln says so. He said he didn't think black folks was equal. He's a racist. All of them. And all these people are racist now. Biden, all of them still, right now, you see God coming, approaching, see, and now they're getting nervous, see. So now, Suleimans pull up their skirt, see, and it's foul. It's stinking, it's foul. It's stinking up the whole world, see. So now they want to pull up some panties, some perfume panties. Say, oh, see, we cleaned up now. See, we're not buying it. We're not buying it because it's still filthy and foul. Because it was foul from the very beginning all the way to the end. And when it goes down, it's going to go down foul. And it's going to take a long time to clean up the smell. Skunk of the planet Earth. People are sick. And they got these Negroes, they're sick. See, because that shows systemic racism right there, because they took their mind away from them, took their heritage away from them. And some of them are just demons as a result of rape. And that's not systemic racism. And now right now, it's so bad, they can't stand the smell of their shit, so now they got to make up all this stuff. Oh no, we're not this, we're not that. We got flaws in our system. The whole system is a flaw. The whole system is sick. It's shit from the beginning to the end. Oh, we made some mistakes. Oh, so in other words, beating us for 40 years, raping us, that was a mistake. It was a mistake, all right. See? But you reduce it to something. Oh, it's just one of the little mistakes we made. You know, or it's a little flaw. A flaw? That wasn't a flaw. See? That was outright rank evil. Rank evil. Sound like them. Sick people.